I was hoping that was going to keep going and we'd have got that live bit from you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. I've started just a few seconds early, and we're very happy to have Simon with us here, and Dale George from Canada and his excellent products. And we'll come to that second, unfortunately, Dale, because really has been quite a big bit of news in the industry today.
Yeah,
and that is
happy to listen in,
Okay, well, we'll get there, but and Sparky's saying, just remember, well, Sparky, I think that is about to become way more. Oh, he's always late, and here he comes.
I don't Mr. Anamorphic himself.
Yeah. It's for dramatic effect, isn't it?
He does it. I think he's got. It's a little video file he plays. Yeah,
just like that. Yeah, here I come to build the anticipation, isn't it?
He's just winding us up.
He is just winding us up, exactly. At least he's going clockwise. Oh, there he is. Right, there we are. 90-second video start.
Another dimension.
Exactly. Or Yorkshire. So why do I not say that comment's important? Well, the demise of Altitude Angel, I think, is going to be a lot more important than people are thinking. A lot of people are jumping up and down and almost rejoicing, thinking that they got in the way and that now they're out the way, things are going to be easy. Those people, the interface, and I think a lot of people are going to rue the day that Richard's company had the problems that it had. I haven't written anything about SES News about it because I am actually gutted about it. I am gutted, so I can't say anything.
I was going to say, because good luck. I think the first thing we want to do is Richard is sort of a friend of the channel in some ways, isn't he? And like I think from me to Richard, and I guess it's from everyone, is we wish him and everyone all the best. Okay, we've just had the news that it looks like they've gone into receivership. That doesn't mean it's over. That sometimes can be a tool to take things. Next step isn't necessarily the right term, but it can be a tool to allow you to solve some problems. We don't really know anything, do we? The truth is we don't know what's happened. And what I know is of Richard from every second we've ever spoke to him.
Is that just me? Or
about
just
it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Richard has always been on it from day one about making things better one way or another in it. You know what I mean? Through everything he's done. And I just hope it all works out for Richard and the team. You know, at the end of the day, there are people behind this. It's not just as simple as this is a company. It's a company. Companies are people. Behind a company is people. Behind, it's not just Richard, it's his team. They all have families. They all have things to do. So, you know, we all hope that it all works out, and whatever comes of this, that it does some good in the end, really.
The thing with Richard, whether you liked the product or not, because you know me, I'm a bit of a UTM skeptic because of the way it's sold, because obviously around air taxes and all stuff that is unproven. It's always felt a bit, you know, ahead of where we are and where we need to be. And also the fact that never has dealing with a lot of the issues that UTM tries to solve, has anyone wanted to do it in the drone software where the likes of RGPilot and that could do it. So drones can deconflict between themselves. You don't need a UTM to do it. And the only reason that people want to do a UTM to do it is because they can put all this infrastructure around it and make lots of money. All that said, Altitude Angel was, I consider, the most legitimate, and with Richard, the concepts that he had were always fundamentally sound, well thought out, and the competitors didn't click on some core principles. Those core principles being everyone else wants you to be conspicuous. Well, you're never ever going to have 100% of the drones conspicuous. There's going to be someone there flying about that isn't, and it also doesn't account for the fact there's a lot of GA aircraft and that are flying about that are not conspicuous, and the CAA doesn't even know this. that was part of what Richard had found with the Arrow Towers. There was lots of stuff flying about that nobody had any idea that was flying about, and that's crucial. If you're going to have to do a UTM and you're getting stuff from A to B, and you're expecting everything along that path to be, pinging out a signal, you are guaranteed to be having accidents, because that's just not the reality. And we've seen as Amazon proved very, very, proved for us, if you just pop up a crane, an obstruction that you're not expecting to be there, something's going to hit. And it's no different for just assuming that the entire airspace is communicating with you. So I always thought it was really brilliant that they built the Arrow system, where the assumption was things aren't conspicuous. They're hiding from you, and you've to seek them out and be aware of them and manage the traffic. And instead of always this being of get that thing we don't like out of the way, instead of it was let's move our traffic away from it. Let's not have that being an issue for the people that are using our service. And all that was, it was ahead of the game with that. And that was fundamentally bad, and you can't argue with that. Obviously, all the drone users that are using the app, that's a brilliant tool for them. We know that DJI, under Brendan, they'd chosen Altitude Angel. They could see the air map was the data was never particularly decent. They had a lot of age data they didn't correct it, but more so, they were working against the industry. They were trying to play both sides, and overall, with Altitude Angel, I never felt that they were working against the industry. They were trying to facilitate it and to work something out. And he would take criticism. He would come on this show. He would get an absolute ear bending from me, and he would come back and he would have some more. And also, he would listen to stuff, because I had a few chats off the show and just said, the thing that frustrates me is people having to pay for, this airport or that airport, and it'll all add up. So if we're going to get down this path, I want to do essentially like your Spotify, where you have an affordable, monthly subscription, and you can go and fly about wherever you like. And it was all open for all those ideas. He says, when once things in place where they need to be, all that he was quite open to doing. So it wasn't about trying to price gouge people, but I guess at the start with the airports, for them to adopt it, they've got to be able to charge something. So unfortunately, that's just the way it worked out. But he always said when he did it, it was available there, and you could use it for free, and then you wouldn't get any charges off Altitude Angel. So I think, given what you have to do in UTM, you're never going to make everyone happy. He was doing as good as he could, and I think it'd be interesting to know how this has all turned out, because obviously BT had invested in them. It was all looking very good. They had the US patent. Everything just looked like it had clicked into place, and then just for it to evaporate. And obviously they got some heavy hitters on. You had Christian from DJI Europe. They had Baroness Sugg, that was obviously breeding in the aviation halls of power within the likes of the DFT, hovering around all that. So you have all those people that knew what needed to do and who to speak to and whatever else. So it'd be really intriguing to know what the story is behind it all.
They could pivot. The thing is, they could pivot now. The big thing is not knowing where the drones are, but where they aren't. Imagine if they repurposed it to be a sentinel for airports, so that instantly you could see if there was anything out there with all their towers and everything. That's probably the bigger value at this point in time.
And it's interesting, I think, and we have to be careful here, because the Altitude Angel, what this isn't pulling the administrators doesn't mean it's over. It just means it's a tool at times to do things. So it doesn't mean it's end game. I think what is a very interesting question in all of this is who in the drone industry is actually able to make money. And this is a wider problem. It's not even specific to UTMs. We are seeing, we have a house of cards here across the whole industry. And I'm not just talking about UTM. I'm not talking about Richard's business specifically. But the truth is, the one person we know in this industry that makes money is DJI. Okay, let's be honest with ourselves here. As the world's leading drone manufacturer, they're clearly making money. But how successful has every other business been around drones? And actually, it's the success rate is really low, and it falls into delivery drones. None of this is making money right now. There ain't no one doing deliveries I'm in Ireland, and as Gary said earlier, my popping into Manor, and amazing stuff those guys are doing there. Where is the point where the drone industry becomes an actual viable industry and not an industry that's propped up by venture capital? And I'm not sure we're at the end of this yet. It feels like we're coming to the end of a period where there's been a lot of investment, a lot of hope that this is going to work out. But reality is, the only person who seems to really be making money across the globe is DJI, and everyone else is trying to fight for scraps of what's left.
Yeah, we're all waiting for the year of the paperless drone land.
There's a good, very valid comment made, as well, as we all know, that even DJI's not got all its eggs in the basket of the drone world. It's diversified, and drones now is just a product amongst its many products, and it may be even one day that they have more in the camera space than they even do in drones. So
they're probably getting close to that, Ian, already. They're getting. Here's an interesting question: is the drone industry viable? It's a crazy question to ask, but actually, it's a bit like the AI industry. The money flowing into AI right now from vendors purchasing GPUs, setting up data centers, but where is the payback? And we seem to be coming to an end of a period in the drone industry where the payback hasn't happened.
Military. It's the military. So many companies making a fortune out of the military now. That's where it's all gone. And as for AI, I see that OpenAI has signed $1 trillion worth of deals. Yeah. It's a fair amount of money.
Yeah. Going to the
it is for the guy selling the axes, Bruce. But remember, it's always about the guy selling the axes, isn't it?
I mean, there is AI, or don't go too off that. It will work itself fine into stuff. Because I mean, I'm already using it every day for development. In fact, it's well beyond that now. I'm using AI to do foreign language emails to airports asking police.
Is this really Ian, or is it just an AI avatar we got here? We don't know. We never know.
Funny you should mention that, but I'm not going to go into details there. Funny you should mention that.
It's helping out with doing some more freedom of information, especially when you're dealing with. The good thing is I do it all on what do they know, and I'm dealing like 5 years worth of them, and I can say, find me all the ones where I've talked about this topic or someone, and it's like boom, you've got a list. It makes stuff so much easier. So I do think there's a future for that. And with drones, it's an unfortunate time for Altitude Angel, because we're at the point where what's gone on in the last few weeks is exposed to everyone that Europe hasn't been investing in counter drone. It's left its airports without anything and just thinks it can roll in stuff on a portable counter drone. And some of the stuff it's rolling out is utterly old-fashioned. I was going to use a swear word then, but I thought, oh well. But what Germany rolled into Munich, it didn't look. The show demo and image quality.
You've got to be careful using German and rolling in sentences. You've got to be very careful where you go with that.
Now they're using lasers at German airports. Using lasers.
I was going to say that
you know better than this, Bruce. It's a laser gate imaging system. So it's actually a camera system, but because it said laser on the side, one of the German publications made out like it was a laser to shoot stuff down. It's not. But obviously, there are a lot of people.
No sharks anywhere.
Yeah. Please, Misa as well. While Tellerian's here. Oh, all right. 2 seconds, and I'm going to ask.
So it made it look like the laser, but what I was getting at was at this point in time, we have all the airports needing a system like. The Arrow towers would have been perfect because that was affordable counter drone on a tower. And then you've got Europe going, we want a drone wall, and you're thinking, no, why don't you just put a drone cellular network made up of arrow towers? It would have been in fact, only yesterday I was speaking to a journalist and I pointed out about the arrow towers. So it's really bad timing because I was thinking, if you had a sales opportunity, now was it. So that was me.
Yeah, it's well, well, I'll come back to the drone wall, but I was going to ask Tadarian, has that Mavic 5, whatever it's called, really got a LiDAR on it?
TOF sensor, yes, not loosely,
LiDAR.
yes, loosely,
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
Right.
It depends what you define as LiDAR, because people keep labeling TOF sensors as LiDAR. Technically, it's LiDAR because it is laser-based, but it's not rotating, it's not moving, it's fairly fixed position. I was going to say, just for Ian being replaced by AI, the original one was kidnapped and killed on a beach, as we've predicted many times after all its FOI requests. So this is the AI replacement, Ian, that we use on a weekly basis. But no, look, just really on last one, I'll do it because we don't want to beat this to death. But it is important people understand this isn't that they no longer exist. This is that administrators have been called in, as I understand it. That may be a tool to allow them to continue in a slightly different guise or in the future. It's a huge shame, and I just, again, we wish Richard and everyone all the best to try and get through whatever this is, isn't it?
And it's important to remember they were, if not number one, the number two company working in that space, and they have researched and developed loads of stuff and thought very hard. And not only has Richard come on and defended the company and had bravely had us rib him, but he's gone and he has defended the private users' rights in Parliament. He's been in all the meetings, and he's been on the not only the side of the commercial flyers, but the everyday man, and he has argued, which probably didn't help his case.
We should also say he hasn't died, because this is also sounding like a bit like an obituary, and
so that's why I made it black around the edge and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
and we have to be fair to him because he is ginger as well, so we also have to rid him.
Oh yeah,
that
there's
too.
many.
So we can't let him get away with it too much. But yeah,
the company I work for is called Ginger Innovations, so there's nothing.
So we can't let him get away with things too much. But
No,
I think there's a real genuine question of viability of the drone industry in the long term, and I'm not talking about guys selling photos to estate agents for $25 or whatever it is. I'm talking about where is the real value in the drone industry from a
But is it not that the
perspective?
regulators have stepped on it so much that people have to be hesitant in how they're moving forward? I mean, Dale might have an opinion, and so might Ginger Innovation say.
But Bruce is right. Bruce said something earlier. Bruce nailed
Did
it
he?
in saying.
Right.
What?
Bruce nailed it in saying. What did you say, Bruce? You were talking about
I said join my OnlyFans
and the
page.
truth is military. You are right.
Yeah.
As much as none of us like it, as much as we don't really want to admit it, the truth is that's where the money is.
There's only two ways to make money: guns and pornography. And I can't see you using drones and pornography, so military's it.
No, it is.
Just quickly add, I work in a company of 12 people. We are drone based. 8 out of those 12 used Altitude Angel every day. We use it as a final check when we're on site, even though we've already done the RAMs through Dorian's excellent service. We do it as a final check on the site, and it already has massively changed what we're doing. I've had to speak to quite a lot of air traffic control towers this afternoon that we had sites booked with through Altitude Angel, and some of them were unaware of the change, of the pause. So it's making things a lot more long-winded because there is no single point of reference for the majority of drone users now. That's the big bit. People used to just look on the map. Yes, I can fly there. No, I can't. And that is the bit that I think has been underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely. And commercial operators are going to will learn fast that regional air traffic won't be interested in you, and they will just say no.
Yeah,
and that'll be that. I would have done when I was there back in the day. Somebody rings me. They don't sound like they know what they're doing. Tell you what, no. And that's going to happen.
Unless you've built up that relationship, you're not going to get in the door.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard,
exactly.
Gary, that no is a full sentence.
No, it's a full sentence. Well, yes. Yeah, it could very well be. I've had to stop myself getting quite angry with people on the socials who are rejoicing because they don't know what's coming. And as has been said by Sparky, what is coming down the line is remote ID and network remote ID. And now I wouldn't be surprised at all now, tinfoil hat on, if this is some sort of move to make sure to get somebody else to get their foot in the door before RID comes in, and they'll monetize the sky even more microtransactions. Oh,
Maybe not even that micro. There might be significant transactions.
No. Well, I think, but weren't they touting starting at 16 quid and generally about 32 to 48 or something?
That's not micro.
No,
not on my budget.
No, and not just commercial flights, every single flight,
everything,
private and commercial, every single.
Still have to pay road tax when you drive your car on the road, even though it's not commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So people that are rejoicing, I think Altitude Angel was one of the things keeping that wolf from the door. But it's.
So do you think Amazon or Google will buy them up?
I think it'll be perhaps one of the other ones. Who's left? ANRA, Frequentis. I can't remember. There's not many left.
I can't say who, but I already know somebody that most of you know that is working in the background on a replacement.
Oh, I'm sure that I'm sure
And
there are.
it won't be extortionate priced, if priced at all.
But it won't have this. It won't have the potential Arrow Tower coverage.
No,
that's not going to happen. We can all, no disrespect to whoever that might be, but if it's a matter of creating a sensor network, if we had a bit of cash, all of us in this call could do that. Yeah. It's not rocket science. Even
trouble is the capital cost of what they were doing with all the extra technology was huge, and so you couldn't roll it out across an entire nation. It was specific to small areas. So and I don't think the capital investments there, AI stolen all the investment capital at the moment, hasn't it?
I was going to say you could roll it out over a nation, but you would need to do something like you'd have to have the government involved on wanting to do it. Which I always thought there was a case for that. If as a government you think your country should be at the leading edge of drones, which when you listen to ministers speaking that's the way they present. Oh, the UK, we should be doing this. So the way I would do that is, you work, with the existing mobile networks, and you get the stuff put on their existing towers. You might have to do a few more because they might not be situated such that they work for counter drone, but I imagine most of them would be. And you could roll something like that out for a nation. And if you're saying all the stuff the drama we're seeing spun up about Russia and etc., you've got a good argument for doing so. And plus the benefits of finding about all that GA that's flying about that you don't know is there.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep going down this little line. We will bring in Dale and Sky Canoe in a minute. We will. Sorry, Dale. We will get there because that's going to be the positive story to end this on.
Well, actually, Gary. Sky Canoe is just another drone company. Like I have 4 drone companies up here. What I'd really like to share in the group is what's happening in North America, since I'm in Canada and I spend a lot of time in the U.S. So I really thanks for this to get to know you guys from the UK, so we can sort of see what's happening in the UK. And I've been following a little bits and pieces, but I can tell you it's a very different world here in North America for drones. DJI is not the big player, by the way. They're looked at as a toy company that did real well, and they sell lots of toys. They're not allowed to fly here in Canada unless they're the little wee toy guys. So just, Canada and the US, so the FAA and Transport Canada, here's how they think of a drone. A real aircraft. Not kind of on a Tuesday, maybe. A real aircraft. So in my shop, big shop here, you can see some models in the back. So if people don't even know what a 100-hour inspection is on a drone, or what an operating certificate looks like, or any of the other things that come with commercial operations of drones. So Canada has the toughest course. If you want to be a pilot in this country, good luck on that. You might as well just go get a heli license or a private pilot's license. So what's going to happen, guys, here in North America anyway, and I think it could be presented somehow in Europe and the UK, is that everybody now wants AN hardware, right? They want radar. We have radar is now typical on all the aircraft that we have, revolving radar. We actually have 2 of them rotating because we hit a lot of birds. Birds are our biggest problem when you're in northern Canada. But I don't want to take too much of this talk. But if you think mind, it was on this call already was talked about as DJI is the big company. Of course they are. Who wouldn't? Right? They come in at the right time. They got a controller. They started with their little. The wall behind me is full of DJI early ones. I think I have some of the number like 1 of things because I was so, as a model helicopter or a model guy, it was cool. They operate on 2.4. You cannot operate commercial equipment on 2.4 in this country. You can't 1/10 of a watt carrier. You can't operate any of that. You have to be a full-blown aviation person to fly a drone. And I mean full-blown. Radio license. You need a VHF radio license. You're going to be current on it. Check this out, guys. You now have to pass a Class 2 medical to fly a drone in this country. And it's
the same. It's the same here. I'm in South Africa. It's exactly the same here.
Okay. So you see what's happening, guys, and I think that we should be part of our responsibility is to move that needle ahead. Get the regulators and all the people that talk about this and start talking less about it as a drone and more about it as an aircraft. And that aircraft that are uncrewed or there's nobody in the seat, they need to fly along with other aircraft together. To give you an idea, in the last 3 years, Sky Canoe, company that I started and owned and stuff, we fly our drones right with scheduled aircraft at an airport. There is no difference from us to them. It's not they're the little toy guys over here and we're the big guys over here. We're even Steven. And we call a final, we call approach, we call cross airport, we call all the calls that you would normally make if you were in the seat. So that's a big difference I see. And
jump in for a moment. We've got a Canadian that's in the comments saying you don't have to have a medical. So is this on a certain size of drone or what?
Yes. No, that's true. So a lot of people that operate a drone commercially, let's say in agricultural, they spray and use drones. The 50 is a good one. The new 100, bigger, strong. I mean, agriculture spraying in China has been going on for 20 years. So there's a comment that these things are too big. They have an inertial force. If you lose control of these things, what happens? So what the new rules, and they come out November the 4th, are that Transport Canada is going to issue a new section to Part 9. They call it Part 9. So you guys could make a note of that, or I can send it to you, Gary, or somehow we can communicate. And it's growing all the time. It's changing. Our rules get changed so much that it's getting crazy. But what they're looking for, and I think that's worldwide, what they're looking for is an identification of what's commercial. Like, for instance, can you certify a drone? If I go up to any DJI product to the pilot and I say, can you tell me how many hours are on that bearing? Can you tell me the last time that the prop nuts were tightened? And the guy might have a logbook or something. but it's going to be automatic that you have a maintenance organization behind your drone.
Well, but then that'll bring us all the way back round to Ian's point of, well, how do you make money? Because that'll really get in the way.
Because we've had that. Yeah, we've had this in the UK. You know, this isn't specific to the product. This is process.
Yes.
You know, you have to separate off product and process. So if you take where the UK was 5 years ago, the UK has gone from quite very stringent regulation to pretty much deregulation based on weight, size, and classification based on weight and size, but it's classification nonetheless. The product itself isn't relevant within that because it doesn't matter if it's a 900-gram Mavic or a 900-gram commercial aircraft built entirely in-house with radar. The rules have been relaxed dramatically. Do you not think the Canadian government will relax the rules in the same way when the rest of the world has?
No, they're marching. Same with the U.S. Part 108 is what they're calling it, and it's ongoing. It's development. I sit on a committee with that, and I sit on Part 9 with Transport Canada. And it's a clear working towards moving the definition of a drone itself into two worlds. There's going to be that I'll call it the toy world, guys, but there's a commercial market for drones, and people make a ton of money. I don't know where, there's people here making really good money. Volatus is one of them, just bought Drones Delivery Canada, but they make good money on operating drones in the north, mostly surveillance, all the mapping and these kinds of things. There's some firefighting going on, or fire watching and that kind of stuff. And there's lots of stuff happening in agriculture because Canada's a big agriculture market. But I think for us, our group, worldwide, any decision makers, anybody who can get their ear, talks about how do we move this into things where the drone talks to pilots, pilots can talk to the drone. The drone is recognized as a real aircraft. Give you an incident. You guys probably saw it. One of the water bombers was brought down for 4 days. That he couldn't spread any water from a small, I think it was a Mavic. It might have even been a Mini, but it put a dent in the front leading edge. Had that been something bigger, it might have really done some damage. Could have caused an accident. In which case,
in fairness, though, part of that is the fault of the way the US authorities have gone, and this thing that we're seeing in Europe that's completely ineffective, which is going, well, we put a remote ID on everything and we don't have to worry about anything. And no one's even, obviously, your large aviation community doesn't even detect or care about RAID. So we've got, with the US, they just thought, well, put RAID on everything, forget about it. And everything's there after New York, New Jersey, that incident you mentioned, everything. It has not done a favor. And then this is a bit where just, connecting back to where we were talking earlier with Altitude Angel, at least with solutions like that, you don't even have to worry about the pilot and the drone talking because it's managing it all for you.
Well, if you've got
various ways to skin a cat is what I'm getting at, I guess.
Yeah. I was also going to say, just on, we're talking about toy drones. Are we thinking that a Matrice 400 is a toy drone? Bearing in mind, okay, I think we'll all agree a Mini 5 or 4 or something like that is aimed at consumers, but DJI is a brand that makes some of the most advanced drones on the planet, period. We're not talking about the most advanced consumer drones. We are talking the most advanced drone on the planet, period. The M400, the Matrice 30, the M4T, and the others. There's nothing. Well, Flycart's a bit of a flying battery more than anything, Bruce. But if you look at the DJI industrial commercial products, from a Canada perspective, are they deeming them as toys? Because they are really not.
Absolutely. So to give you an idea, 2.4 gigahertz. You guys know what that means and
Oh.
what it is and everything?
Yes, it's license
No,
free.
never
It's
heard of it.
chosen because it's
Oh,
license
but
free.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Watch how this falls apart, because I can bring out, when I bring out my 2.4 Spectrum scanner, which is just a radio scanner, it puts the 51th channel on there, so that when it goes around hopping to find which frequency I can grab when I'm at my radio control model field, because that's where this started and that's where it still is. So when I go out sometimes and I bring that along, it transports with me, and drones fall out of the sky. You cannot control your drone if I add that 51 channel in there, because now it's scrambling for it and it sees it as the viable channel. What I'm saying is that, and it's also a 1/10 of a watt.
No, it's actually not. It's not a 1/10 of a watt. DJI is pushing 2 watts on 04 on 2.4 and 5.8 gigs. Yeah, it's license free, but they can change that in a heartbeat.
No. 2 watts is not license free.
It is on 04. Yes, it is. The 2 watts is license free if you're channel hopping. But okay, if we take band as a choice, so if we take consumer drones are using license free bands because it's license free, they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's open.
It's open, but if Canada said a commercial drone must use, I don't know, 1 gigahertz as an example, that's a firmware update. That is literally a firmware update. The product can comply tomorrow. The frequency chosen isn't what dictates if it's a toy or not. The frequency chosen is based on global legislation of license-free bands that make the product certifiable without additional requirements. If you take Canada as an example, and they said, hey, to have your drone as a commercial drone, it must work on 6 gigahertz. That's literally a design choice that anyone can make. It doesn't stop DJI doing it. They're just choosing at the moment not to do it. What makes, if we're going to say, what makes a product commercial? Are we saying radio frequency? Are we saying design? Are we saying features? Because as I said, if you take a Matrice 400, that product has more safety features than probably anything anyone else makes. Period. It has LiDAR, it has all of the sensing features, it has object avoidance, it has ADS-B, it has everything. But what you're talking about is what is being classified by a government is commercial, not what stops. DJI can comply with that if they need to.
I think with the DJI stuff, it almost sits in. It sits in almost in 2 categories. You got your stuff that is, you would say, was a toy. You've got your Matrice and that, but I wouldn't say that was a proper aircraft.
No.
It's not what I would consider a proper certified drone. In that, if you were to, and this is the thing that really irks me with sort of the perception we have in the UK. People think you can get a Matrice and you can fly that around in any weather, and you could do 365 every day, and it's not. They will be coming down. When you look at they've put them online before today. But DJI, the test they do for the waterproofing, and one of the tests is 3 minutes. Now, 3 minutes in a test lab doesn't account for flying out in Manchester for an hour. And I think that's the thing.
Take it to Wales.
Yeah. Oh, well. So that's the thing that someone needs to grasp. And I think a bit of what Dale's getting at with what's going on in Canada is I assume that will be more serious. This is more like an aircraft certified for all the hours and all that. So really, we can almost do with like 3 categories. This is your really serious stuff. This is in between, and this is your toys, if that's
a good point. We're in a transition, really, and you're right. It's not where they're going to drop these things. But if you take a look at Boeing as an example, or Lockheed, or any of the biggies, they've been flying, it's already 20 years ago since I flew the RQs, the RQs, the Shadows, the 21s. And when I put a lot of hours on those, it was clear that there was already a distinction between things that had AN hardware in it. So, you'd go to if you had a bolt come out, you could go into the buckets where the real aircraft guys hang out and snitch a few of their washers and bolts and all that, and they fit. They were the AN3, you know, whatever the code. But there was also some hobby bits, and one of them was the motor. You know, there are these little twin cylinder battery ignition. Back in the day, they run on just a 50-to-1 oil mix, and the military hated doing that. Even the Scan Eagle, the same thing. And now they're on heavy fuel. They're fuel injected. They got rid of the battery ignition is way upgraded because those are the things that failed. And guess where those things all come out of? The toy market, the hobbyist market. So what if you go take a look at a Scan Eagle today and a Scan Eagle of even 10 years ago, it still looks similar, but if you get to the details in it, the plugs and the little connectors, totally different.
Look, this conversation swiftly went to places I wasn't expecting it to go. Just nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. As we run into the hour, the reason I got Dale on was because I saw this aircraft, and Johnny said, "Oh, it looks just like a big model aeroplane. This is your smaller one, isn't it? And they go up inside." And that to me is perfect because we understand how these platforms work. They're straightforward. They're simple. You know, what bothers me a lot about the modern drone industry, be it toy or whatever, is that people are designing things that just look ridiculous, and you already know they don't look like they're going to fly very well. So I thought it was quite a good-looking platform, and I was going to value Bruce's opinion on this sort of thing. So, Bruce, over to you.
Well, they say if it looks like it'll fly, and I mean, this is function determining form, isn't it? I mean, basically, you got a large cargo space, you got a fixed chord wing, conventional tractor engine. It's the fundamentals of really simple, reliable flight. So, it makes sense to me that you would do something like this. I must admit, like Gary, I get kind of amused when I see all these really way out aerodynamic shapes and designs, probably simply so they can stand out amongst a crowd rather than provide the best performance, you know, and it irritates me as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, of course, Canada is not known for developing tough, hard-wearing, bush-flying aircraft.
No,
it's not famous for that in any way at all.
No. Can you get them with floats on? That's what I need to do. Can you put floats on them?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I mean, obviously, this is born of experience, Dale, and you'll know its work. I'm meant to rip you apart now over it, but I can't. So was that really your you know, it's got to be the design choices, hasn't it? It works.
Yeah. You can see the landing gear on there. We went through quite a few things because we're pounding rocks and, you know, gravel and, you know, we were wrecking landing gear. I think, and we put it on skis and we fly in the winter all the time. You know, you can't have a drone that you can only fly in California, you know, or something. Like in Canada, it's torturous city. I wished everybody bring their drones that want to see how well they'll do up here because we fly in horrible winds. So most of the winds are 20 knots, 30 knots. You know, and our aircraft, we started small. So we started at 3 meters, 4 meters or something like that. And we're going up to probably 10 meters. So we started off with maybe 50 kilogram lifts, and we want to go to something like 1,000 kilogram lifts. We have stall capabilities, and we're soon going to have slats forward, you know, leading slats and all that stuff. But it's an easy plane to fly, even without any autopilot assistance. So that's the way we did.
So how do you fly? Are you FPVing them, or you got ArduPilot, or what's your basic? Because obviously you got my BVLOS.
All started with Ardu, you know, Mission Planner and that kind of stuff. But now we've built our own. You know, we started to build our own software within it. We had to build our collision avoidance system had to be way better than it was because, you know, you fly into a flock of birds up north all the time, whether it's seagulls or you know, just a lot of seabirds and that kind of thing. So we've got like a stereoscopic type radar situation that one goes out, says, yeah, there's something there. The other one goes out with another whack and it says what it really is. And even if we're flying at night, because we fly at night a lot because it's calm weather. So if you're flying all night, you're going to hit a lot of bats and other kinds of birds that you would not normally see. So collision avoidance was something we had to overcome, or transport would not allow us in the air.
How are you dealing with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police drones? Because they seem to collide a lot with aircraft.
Well, you know what was worse, guys, Bruce, was our own drones. Okay, if you want an A to B and B to A all day long between two reserves beyond roads. There's plenty of them in Canada. There's plenty of places in Canada that have no roads. It's all fly in, everything. And our idea was to fly from reserve to reserve and to end of road places. And in that case, Transport wanted us to identify that once we had over 50 drones in the air, how would we handle our own traffic? So we started thinking and ultralights and helicopters. Actually, geo-survey helicopters are our worst problems, because they're always hovering around. Then when they see the drone, because you see a 20-foot drone out there, they can see it. And they go, oh, let's go over and take some pictures, or let's go take a look. And then
run away.
Yeah, they get too close to the drone, and our drone is trying to hey, I got to go over here now. Look. So we're still dealing with a lot of.
So is that completely autonomous decision making because it's BV loss and over the hill? Is it getting out the way by itself, or are you with enough radio comms to see what's happening?
All by itself. If the weather gets so bad and icing forms in the aircraft, it knows it's going down. It can't continue flight. So it turns around and comes back, or it lowers. And we're flying at 400 feet AGL. It's not very high. To me, it's skimming the tops of trees. But they wanted a 100-foot buffer in the regulations to ultralights. Well, and other aircraft that are just joyriding around, right? Because
not earning any money.
So you're flying in a lot of rural, sort of remote locations. So the 2.4 gigahertz situation wouldn't be that much of an issue to you, would it? Because it wouldn't be very congested out there.
It's a real big issue because there's no cell phone service, there's no connectivity. So we've gotten to go to 900. We're at 915 or 920s, and much more power because we don't have cell phone to cell phone to cell phone, and we can't internet base our flight. So because the internet's horrible. We're all spoiled when you talk about southern
Starlink, man.
Yeah. It's when you go to the north, you don't have to go very far north in Canada, and there's nothing. And that's where they want these drones, because there's poaching, there's all kinds of bad guys up there, whatever. And we got a big coastal area to protect. So I think when we looked at Sky Canoe, we thought it was an air cargo delivery drone. And it will maintain that. But we're now looking at much larger ranges, like, for instance, flying for 3 or 4 days where the aircraft never comes down. So, and that's just in some parts of Canada. So what you have to do there is either have a really big fuel tank and a really little camera to see what you're seeing, or hydrogen. We've had hydrogen fuel cells. We've done a lot. And it might be just for Canada. So I don't want to have this group sort of tainted by what we're doing in Canada. It's maybe different, but I think the invitation to this group is good, because we can share where the direction of this is going, and what we feel it's going is to more of a responsibility to the aircraft. So if DJI wants to hop on board with that, fine, but it'll have to be certified, like your Cessna or your Beechcraft or your whatever. The drone will have to be certified. And I have drones here in the shop that are all AN hardware. They're the methods of making the parts, riveting them together, structurally finding out if their engineering, their sound is all based on ANSI standard. It's all based on a Lightsport aircraft.
Yeah. I think, I'm a fan of the bigger airframes doing work over places, because the less time you take off and land, your risk just shoots down every takeoff and landing. It's takeoff and landings that are really the issue.
For sure.
And it's I can see a lot of larger platforms, and it was always the wet dream for Thales in Europe to have big platforms orbiting in orbits everywhere, and different agencies would buy the data as required. Oh, there's some sort of police gig happening, send in the orbiting platform, get in the closer look, and then send it back on its way, and they would just buy that. Oh, there's a fire, the fire brigade will, and have enough of them able to cope with all different stuff. And when nothing's happening, we'll do some mapping. So that was always their wet dream in the early 2000s. And I think we might be reaching that point. And there's going to be data gathering services that loiter, and there's going to be smaller multi-rotor services. I can see it coming. And you're absolutely right. They'll have to be certified. They're big platforms, and if they're allowed to go higher, it makes all sorts of problems go away for the operator as well.
Well, right now in agriculture, and again, I'm only going to speak for North America because I don't know other parts of the world. But what's happening is the manned agricultural sprayers. We just looked at the DJI spraying machines, which are fantastic. They're great machines. They've really DJI's done the best job on software. Yeah, the aircraft is an aircraft, parts are parts, but and they have some competition. They're getting competition. But what's happening is the certified expensive manned helicopter and fixed wing, they're not just sitting there going, "Well, these drone guys, they're taking all my work." They're saying, "Get them out of the airspace now. We have to spend all this money on maintaining my helicopter and my spraying equipment and all these rules and regulations that I've had to go through to spray somebody's farm." And this guy pops in with a drone that he found in a box he got under the tree, and he's out there spraying crops. And I've gone to these meetings, guys. They're not good meetings. It's like
it's completely opposite here. The crop dusting guys are having to buy the drone stuff because the farmers aren't willing to pay the price that they were having to pay to have the crop duster. So they're actually I live pretty rural in the mountains, not Canadian rural, but pretty rural, and I know of 3 operators in our small village in our local area. I often see big crop spraying drones on pickup trucks, on utes, and they've taken over. I completely missed that it would be quite so popular. So we've got 8 minutes to go. Before we go, I just want to circle back onto the drone defense topic a little bit, and talk about the drone wall in Europe. I think it's a rubbish idea. I think it's a digital Maginot line, and we all know what we'll do. If we build a wall, you'll just drive around it. I don't know.
There's some bits about it you could say yes, and that's why I was trying to get back to the arrow tower of you put it in other countries, put it out fine. If you just try and do a wall, you'll put the stuff in, as Ukraine demonstrated fantastically. You'll just put it in a van. You'll drive it past the wall and you'll launch it. You can't stop that. So it would be an incredibly expensive amount of lot of counter drone. And then, how long is it going to last before it's defunct by whatever cunning plan someone in the drone industry comes up with? So I just fear that it will be a lot of expense, very little use. Because the trouble as well is that you're only using it for militaries. Well, at least if you do something, if you applied something that could be used commercially as well,
barrage balloons,
money's not wasted. You've got 2 benefits out of it, and that's the problem that's not being thought of. And also, because you've done that, I can bring us back to this, because obviously the airport stuff is being used by politicians to drive it. So this is the little campaign today. I've been trolling Copenhagen Airport. First time I've trolled an airport, but they did deserve it, because the actual airport and police are now arguing. The police are saying there is no evidence of a drone. Copenhagen Airport are saying we're an airport. Our people couldn't possibly make a mistake, which I think is slightly arrogant given the United
credible
States.
Witnesses.
And they then said it was drones. And then I thought, this is a bit funny that they also say our video surveillance got flying objects. Why they've chosen that there rather than drones? The giveaway as well is video surveillance. So it's taken them weeks, and they've got some off of CCTV that will probably be the planet Jupiter. But the point being, that shows they're not equipped. They should have had an EOIR head. It should have been live. Here's the video. We've got it now. They closed the airport down for just as long as it's gone away. open up rather than panic for days, and then you give the evidence to the police. And I'm not convinced, because this flying objects video, the press have said, can we see this video of the drone? And
Yeah.
no, you can't see it. It's an ongoing investigation, and it's like, come off it. It's you're not identifying a person, you're identifying a piece of equipment. I'm sorry, I don't buy it.
National security, mate.
Well, I quickly made it just annoyed me that we're getting all these things. So somewhere I did mention stars, didn't I? I made up, a risk assessment if you're an air traffic controller. But or a policeman or air traffic controller, what are you actually doing to see what's what? So of course I just banged it into AI and got one quickly, and you'll see that on our. I should put that link in here, but I would just like to see their paperwork. I would like to see the procedures now for these airports that are closing down when someone just says, "Oh, we think there's something." Because if they haven't got those in place, then I really do think they should be in the loop for some of the money, for taking some of the blame. I really do. They can't keep doing this. It's just disrupting too many people. It is negligent, isn't it? Really, it's not cool and good. I managed to get rid of Ian. Oh, he must have gone back to the bar.
Yeah. Hey, the future, this drone wall thing. I think we can turn to the Thunderbirds for inspiration. If you want to get past the drone wall, the mole. The perfect craft. Oh
well, yeah. No, but then you've got to have the loser that was up orbiting Earth in the who was up there? Up the top, up in space. The one that because they didn't want him to go to any of the parties. Remember all the groovy parties that they had in Tracy Island?
Yeah,
was
pretty futuristic.
Yeah.
Lots of blinking lights too.
That's right, and big switches.
Disco time. It's ahead of its time.
It was ahead of its time. You want his super? He wants his £1 back. Yeah, well, obviously there'll be. You can have it back, but there's a £2.50 handling fee for that.
That's it.
That's the way forward, isn't it?
No, his connection dropped. How come he's still in the chat?
Yeah, I know.
We don't believe you, mate. Yeah.
He's back at the bar. That's where he is. He's back at the bar. We know that. We know that to be true. Dale, thank you very much for joining us. It's a great looking platform. I put it in the chat earlier. Arduino bought by Qualcomm. Yeah, I saw that as well, John. I've started on my. What do we think about
for our phones? Scripts for our phones now.
What's the end of Arduino, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does anyone care?
True, because it is all the ESP32s now, anyway, isn't it?
I think at this point. You need to let Simon speak because he's already spoken, and with the cat there, he's looking like an evil genius. So he's excellent.
It's the wrong colour. I haven't got a white cat. We've just got the one that's left. Now, I was here to talk about AA, really, and it's a sad loss. I hope that people don't lose their jobs and income over it. It looks like they probably will. I feel for them and their families. Yeah, they had skin in the game. They were possibly even on bonuses as to how the company was going to do, and it's not worked out for them. Let alone, some of you know I'm on a lot of the UK drone Facebook groups, and there's a lot of people saying, "Well, where do we go to check? How do we check the airspace now?" And it's the lack of having a single point of check is the biggest problem.
And that's where Rich, by giving it away, if it had been £1 a month or something like that, maybe that would have kept the doors open. I don't know.
The burn rate of a startup like that must be phenomenal, and a few quid from a few drone users isn't going to turn that around.
To be fair, it could have done. Because if what I heard is correct. I was told the Drone Assist app. That was costing $1 million a year to run. Now, if that's true, you could get enough from the drone community to keep it ticking over without it being too expensive. But obviously, that doesn't run the entire business because they're doing other things as well. But you could certainly fund parts of it. I guess their plan was
$1 million a month, $1 million a year, Ian. Though, but do the math. If you're going to charge £1 a user is $1 million users.
Well, that was just a number.
That's what I mean. There's supposed to be 250,000 drone users, we keep being told. So
that's not true. There's probably a
not
few
near
thousand active drone users in the UK, isn't there? That use it
that.
regularly enough
What's
to actually pay.
PFCO numbers now? I haven't looked.
Altitude Angel, by their own figures, had over 100,000. So you're still talking a tenner there, aren't you?
Yeah, you're talking a tenner there, Ian. Yeah, a tenner a year.
But if they don't
The question
get
is,
the
would
full
people
board,
pay a tenner? Are
No,
they going to
no,
pay it?
That's right.
So-
Yeah,
so-
but they're going to be paying that £1 now, £2.50 if you want it back. But they're going to be paying a lot more than that soon.
Yeah.
Who are you guys going to support now?
MAPs.
MAPs, yeah.
Well, thanks
Again,
thanks for the invite, guys.
Okay, mate. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Im-
Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, if
But
you
it might
want,
not be over yet as well. And that's the one point just to make another due diligence. It might not be gone. We have to be fair on that. It could be back in a week's time. It could be a structuring move. So
We could. There we are. Look, we've gone 36 seconds over. So, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, horrible day, I think, and they are an important part of certainly the UK and possibly the world's drone history in the last 10 years. Good luck, Dale, with your platforms. We'll see you all again next week at 2100 Gin and Tonic. Oh, cheers, Grey Arrow. You've been skulking in the comments. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.